This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is Not America's Sweetheart, Davian. And
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy James. This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
This is Adam Anthony James Martin, the Norfolk County Championship Wrestling President, and you are listening with Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I am, of course, your host, James J., and it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with the owner of Norfolk County Championship Wrestling, Adam Anthony James Martin.
Good evening, James. How are you doing, sir?
I am good. How about yourself?
Oh, if I was any better, there'd be two of me. And I first off wanted to say thank you very much for having me on Wrestling with Entertainment. It's a pleasure. I love speaking about something that I'm very passionate about. I know that you are as well, and that being professional wrestling. And I'm really excited to talk about what upcoming things are happening right here in Norfolk County, and specifically with Norfolk County Championship Wrestling. So again, thank you very much for having me on the show. I do appreciate it.
No, absolutely. And, I mean, let's get into it. What events do you have coming up next?
So, it's our second event of the year here in Norfolk County with Norfolk County Championship Wrestling, or NCCW. We have All or Nothing coming up on May 23rd. It's the first time that NCCW is jumping into Delhi, Ontario to host an event, and we have the privilege and the honor of teaming and partnering up with a legendary venue, Capital 33, which is notorious for having its comedian acts, live music, cover bands, parties. It hosts wedding, amazing sound team over there with Black Creek Music, amazing team overall, and it's going to create a new vibe, a new experience for anyone that grabs a ticket. Not only for the fans in attendance, but again, for the athletes competing on that event, and for us too. We've never worked in this venue before, but it's a brand new experience. And again, with Norfolk County being divided up into 6 amazing little towns, we like to touch and hit every single market. Even though we're not far away, it's easier to visit Simcoe, Port Dover, Delhi, Waterford, and every other little town involved in the county itself. And that really sets the tone for what we're all about. And that's why we are called Norfolk County Championship Wrestling.
And where can we find you on social media?
So you can find us on Instagram, first and foremost, at Norfolk Wrestling. If you go on Facebook, you can just type in Norfolk County Championship Wrestling. And that's where you're going to find most of our posts. That's where you're going to find our updates, our event pages, our videos, our match announcements, and everything of the sort, just to keep you up to date and, of course, get you caught up if you haven't been able to catch anything that we've been doing since April of 2024.
Perfect. And you don't have to go looking for it. All of the links to NCCW and Adam's socials will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox.
Awesome. I appreciate that, James. Thank you. Makes my life easier.
Absolutely. That's what we're here for. So let's kind of get into it. Obviously you are very, in your territory, so to speak, obviously Norfolk County. What was kind of the inspiration to, not be like a major touring company, like going to, this side of Canada and that side of Canada, but just, specifically, focus on your one region?
Well, That's a great question, James, and I'm glad you asked it because this community, this town, this county has a very big spot in my heart. It's where I grew up. It's where I have my family, all my friends from public school all the way through high school, and now currently in the working life, and families and everything like that. You get to know everybody in the community. You come together, and we have limited special events that go on or have had in the past that seem reoccurring. We have concerts. We have the Norfolk County Fair, which is the biggest fair in the general area. We have a couple of other things that are repetitive. And one thing that I felt essentially when I moved back to Norfolk County was things that I was passionate about, things that my friends were passionate about. And one of those major things was pro wrestling. And there used to be a promoter, I believe, that ran, and they kind of got blacklisted in the general area, unfortunate. So there was a black eye on wrestling here. No venues wanted to host it. People weren't showing any interest in going to shows unless it was a major show by WWE or now AEW.
Right.
Coming in the local area or the closest city, which would be Hamilton or London, Toronto, that type of thing, and that gets expensive. So for me, on a level of not only passionately loving professional wrestling, but being able to provide it to families at an economical rate where they don't have to go or travel, they can come here and make this a thing of ours or our own special entity that we all get to share together and enjoy, and save some money by going to do that. That was the main priority amongst myself and someone I consider one of my best friends at the time of creating Norfolk County Championship Wrestling, and that's our story still today. It's a key factor in what we do and how we book shows, who we bring in, and of course having that economical rate to make sure that anybody and everybody that wants to come to the event is more than welcome and still can afford it without giving up an arm or a leg.
How far is Norfolk from London?
So it's about an hour and a half, I would say, from London, Ontario. And if you're going east to Hamilton, it's about an hour and 10. Brantford's in between. And then if you want to go further to Toronto, you're looking at maybe like an hour and 45 to 2 hours, depending on traffic. We're essentially a hub, I believe, to all the major cities, because again, it's an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours tops in any which direction you go to hit a major city. So we're pretty central in the surge in the area, but as a territory, we're still far enough away where people from this area might not want to travel to Toronto. They
Right.
might not want to travel to Hamilton unless it's like something really special with a big promotion like WWE, or again, as I mentioned, AEW coming in. Now you have MLP traveling around as well, which is really cool and great for the fans. But again, like I said, this is more of an intimate promotion. It's more of a thing of ours here in Norfolk specifically. And each and everything that we do caters to our community involved one way or another to make it feel that much more special. And again, make everyone feel like they're involved, because without the fans, without the people coming and paying for the shows, we probably still wouldn't be running.
I gotcha. And you mentioned, the promoter prior to you guys, got blacklisted. Kind of seemed like there, like you said, a dark cloud on wrestling in your region. So I can imagine that wasn't like starting from zero. That kind of seems like you was starting from negative numbers just because, you had to get over some type of stigma, no?
You're absolutely right, James. And it's unfortunate. I won't go into specifics because, again, I've never met that person firsthand, so I don't know them personally.
Right.
It's just word of mouth. And, sometimes things can get distorted, but the reputation in regards to venues were not accessible for use because of this specific promoter in the past left an impression on me that, yeah, you're right. I started with an uphill battle, but easily was overly being able to overcome this in a matter of putting feet on the concrete or the pavement and meeting people face to face, building relationships, and of course having been raised here, having family members here and stuff like that. It seemed like it was going to be an uphill battle for a long time, but it quickly grew over because we're respectable. We treat the venues like our homes when we come into them, and we were able to build a relationship with one specifically that hadn't allowed wrestling for over 10 years. And that felt like a major accomplishment. And again, that's based off of, our respect for the community itself, the venues that were willing to host us, not just about the transition of money or exchange of renting out a venue, but again, treating it with respect, communicating on who we are, what we're doing, why we're here, and then firsthand getting to see the show that we put on and the joy that it brings to this amazing community. So at first, it seemed like it was going to be a big challenge, and it sort of was until we got walking, until we got shaking hands, until we actually got face to face with the right people. We had some assistance from local municipal as well, which went a long way. Adam Beery, Ward 6 councillor out of Port Dover, was a huge helping hand in that as well, and helping us get our reputation off to a great start before we even held the show. And, working with the county and proving to them after our first show that we are legit, that we are going to take care of the talent, making sure everyone's safe when they come to our shows, and it is a family-friendly event, was our number one goal and priority, which we were able to pull off and do.
And now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't have any prior experience in pro wrestling rather than just being the promoter when you started Norfolk, correct?
I've done one show prior to, again, with a best friend of mine, the same gentleman that actually came up with the idea with me for NCCW one night. Him and I, when we previously both lived in Hamilton, we ran one show because we just wanted to check it off our bucket list. It wasn't any intention in typically to run it long term, but just to do one. And then I ended up having to move back to my hometown here in Simcoe, Ontario, which is a part of the key city, or a key town, I should say. It's not a city by any means. The key town or focal point of Norfolk County. And then I waited a few years until I was actually here to really establish NCCW and create it and get it going. But yeah, pretty much. I've had background in promotion itself in terms of music concerts when I was in London going to college, working with bands and musicians and putting on other types of shows. But specifically, you're absolutely right. When it comes to long term, NCCW is essentially the first go at running a territory and a promotion in regards to pro wrestling itself.
And how did you attract, pro wrestlers to come for, somebody that was, technically, excuse me when I say, unproven, somebody not in the business, somebody that, they wouldn't necessarily know?
It's a good question as well because I think a lot of people have a hard time trusting new promoters
Right.
in regards to the talent. I'm sure a lot of talent out there have been stiffed to a certain degree or have ran into issues where, they show up for an event and either A, they didn't know it was getting canceled, or B, they didn't get paid, or C, it's just complete chaos. And it can be nerve-wracking. And some people that think that they can run shows like this until they get their everything tentatively lined up and ready to go, and then find out it's a lot harder than it is. You might see a one and done in no time, more often than not, versus someone sticking around to do it continuously. But for that first initial event, we had some people that were working on booking the talent for the event itself. The matchmakers involved were able to put it together really smoothly. There was no issues with talent not wanting to come, as they were familiar with Simcoe itself. We just made it very clear that we were not the same team or the same promotional um, company that we're running prior to, and this was a brand new upstart, and there was a reason behind it. And we basically explained our mission statement right off the get-go to create clarity and transparency on what our goal was and how we were going to treat the talent.
And let's talk about the talent. Not too long ago, you crowned your first ever women's champion. I believe it was Kingsley, no?
That is absolutely correct as well. Back in February, we held our first event of 2026, No Man's Land. We had a single day women's championship with 6 of the finest women to compete, not only in Ontario, but all of Canada and beyond. It was a phenomenal event. That was extremely well put together. The fans really seemed to enjoy it. And yes, in our main event, we were able to finally crown a well-deserved champion holding the women's NCCW championship, and that being Kingsley, who some say might have had a little bit of help, but definitely well deserved in winning that championship. As she's ever since coming to Canada, she's definitely made a name for herself in the right direction, becoming very popular, despite her heelish tactics or her dislike for Canada in some regard, specifically when she comes to Norfolk County. But always a performer, always professional, and an amazing in-ring talent. And on the mic, if you've got a chance to hear her sing as well.
She's currently having some issues with Wanda, no?
Yes, her and Wanda Del Rey have had an issue going back since 2025, beginning of the year there, and it spilled over. There was a situation in October, unfortunately, at our event Clash on the Coast in Port Dover, where they were supposed to actually have a match, and unfortunately, Wanda was unable to attend that match, and Kingsley decided to take it further by not understanding the situation at its full, but rubbing it in and taking it to a whole new level. So they finally met in the first round of the women's tournament back in February, where Kingsley was able to squeeze out a win, I would say, with the assistance of our ropes. Unfortunately, the referee's decision at that time was final, and she did advance to the finals itself. But once and for all, that match specifically in No Man's Land was a brawl all over the venue. So there's a lot of bad blood there, and it's going to continue on. And hopefully, we see a true winner, once and for all, at All or Nothing on May 23rd in Delhi, Ontario. So it's going to be a banger of a match for that women's championship.
No, absolutely. Hopefully these issues will be resolved because it seems like it's going all over the arena at this point.
Yes, it could even break outside. We never know. They're two highly competitive women that have both a giant chip on their shoulder, and rightfully so. They've accomplished so much in so very little time. We're all excited, and I think that's why tickets are moving great as well to see the follow up. And you could say even the final episode of these two competing against each other, and seeing who ends out on top, who ends up holding the crown or wearing the crown and holding the championship, I should say. So it's another great reason to why you should grab your tickets before they are sold out for May 23rd.
Well, tell us about KPK, Abdu and Ahmed, the tag team champions.
Yes, again, they outsmarted Generation Now when they won the tag team championships at Clash on the Coast. They utilized a briefcase that was able for a cash in for a championship of their choosing, and smart decision. They waited for the end of the tag team tournament match between Dynasty and Generation Now. Generation Now were able to overcome the odds and some say pull off a major upset, but a great tag team in their own right and well-deserved win. But KPK outsmarted them. They utilized a briefcase again, like I said, decided that's the point in time where they wanted to cash it in, and they chose the tag team championships, and they walked out October as the new NCCW tag team champions. And they weren't able to be on the last event as it was heavily featured for the women's tournament, but they are back May 23rd, and we're just waiting for the final announcement to see who their opponents are going to be in their first tag team title defense, which I'm really excited about. Because some people say you're not a true champion unless you defend the titles, and that goes for Kingsley, and that goes now for KPK as well, as both of them, all of them will be involved in their first title defense, and we'll get to see if they are a true champion. So I'm pumped up for KPK to return. They've been with us since the very beginning of April of 2024. And they're pretty much grandfathered into NCCW in a major part of its success. So it's great to have them back, despite their tactics and some of the things I don't agree with on how they win. They're still successful, and you have to give them their props.
It is quite interesting, Generation Now, your first tag team champions, inaugural, they get their, flowers in the moment, and then moments later, you crown your second ever tag team champions, literally minutes later.
It was a major surprise. I think the whole audience gasped when it happened and occurred. It created a big deal, a lot of shock in the audience, and it was not expected on my end as well. But like I said, they were doing anything and everything within the rules Despite my disagreement with how they did it, they still followed the rules. They utilized what they had available to them, and that being that special briefcase. And they chose wisely to cash it in at that very moment at a very vulnerable state that Generation Now was in and walk away, like you said, moments later after the arms were raised of Generation Now, to walk out the back door as tag team champions.
Now let's talk about your heavyweight champion, Pretty Ricky.
Ah, we love Pretty Ricky here at NCCW. Some will say the reigning, defending, Norfolk's favorite son, the rattlesnake of Brantford, the prettiest of Rickies in the world. You know, he just a great, amazing talent. He's held that championship, the second ever NCCW heavyweight champion, has held that championship, you know, with a lot of pride, a lot of respect. He's treated that title. He's defended it every chance he's possibly had. You know, and he's just won with the audience. He's so connected, so well loved, so well received. You know, he goes in there with passion. He goes in with the biggest heart, and he walks away victorious. The audience just feeds off of that type of mentality, that type of energy, and it's so beneficial for NCCW to have someone like that leading the way, leading the charge, setting the example of what a true champion is. We love Pretty Ricky here, and he's got a tough task ahead of him. Some would say the toughest challenge to date here at NCCW, as another man making all the waves since our first inaugural event back in 2024, has gone undefeated here at NCCW, 9-0 now, is Kyle Boone. This match truly is all or nothing, hence the event name. It's one to watch, one to get your tickets for specifically as well. It's truly the championship versus the streak. You don't see something like this come along in an independent level to this magnitude, and I feel like this is the biggest match in up to date here in Ontario this year.
Definitely. I mean, like you said, streak versus, title reign.
It's one to watch. Pins and needles for me. I know I'm biased, but you know it's just going to be a highly entertaining match, and it was the right match to make. Kyle Boone, like I said, has earned every little bit of it. Again, despite how he wins, he still walks away victorious. He still gets his hand raised. The announcer still announces him as undefeated each and every match, and he's going in that way for this title match. So it's a big deal for him. You know, and again, with his toughest challenge ahead of him himself. So, champion versus streak, May 23rd, all or nothing. It truly is, you know, one for the ages. I must say that.
Oh, definitely. And before, Pretty Ricky was your champion, Hayden Buckland was your champion. He held the championship for just over a year or so. Why was he the right guy at the right time for you and the promotion?
He was the opportunistic one throughout that first ever main event match. It was a fatal four-way for the NCCW Heavyweight Championship with four of the best, not only in Ontario but in the U.S. as well, with Hayden being included in that group. And he seized an opportunity. At that time, we had a talent that wanted to be on the show. Wade Allen out of Dunnville, Ontario, felt he was entitled to be on that show, and he was not booked for that event, basically being from Norfolk, and he made an impact in that match. And unfortunately for the three other competitors in that match, Hayden's the one that capitalized on that situation and took that title. Now, did we agree again with the way that he won the championship? Not necessarily. But did he defend the title for over 352 days plus? Absolutely. So he deserved that championship. No matter how he won again, no matter who he was up against, he might have talked down on the people of Norfolk while he was here. But deep inside, I truly feel like he loved that championship and he loved to defend it. But more importantly, he loved to rub it in all our faces. So there was nobody or nothing going to stop him from walking out the championship as the champion until Pretty Ricky came along and earned that title shot. And we all know what happened with that, because the rest is history. And Ricky's still our champion. But Hayden Backlund, he wasn't chosen. He created the opportunity for himself, and he took it and he ran with it. And he upheld the meaning of being a true champion himself.
Now, I wasn't going to mention him until a little later in the interview, but you did bring up his name. Can you tell us about your issues with Wade Allen?
Originally, Wade Allen was the anti-hero, I think. He was a vigilante. He did what he wanted to do. I mean, he still does. But at least now there's a mutual respect between Wade Allen and myself. We went through the ringer together. There was a situation where he put me through a door. I cost him to win, the briefcase, to win the Ontario Garden Cup. That opportunity to potentially have himself a World Heavyweight Championship match. I cost him that as well. I pinned up against a guy against him that I thought was bigger, badder, and stronger than him in a bull rope match, and Wade Allen won. And that's when he earned my respect because he never stopped. He never gave up. And when he gave me those lashings, 10 by the way, with a leather belt, I think I earned his respect as well. Because at the very end of that, we shook hands, we hugged, we looked each other in the eye, and I told him, you know what? You always belong here at NCCW. So whatever issues that we had in the past have been settled. The dust has fallen. It has hit the ground. It hasn't been, disturbed since. I'd love to keep it that way because I find he's always gotten the better of me one way or another, and rightfully so. But again, I have nothing much but respect for Wade Allen. I think he does a lot for professional wrestling within Ontario and outside of the borders now. And I think a lot of big things are coming his way, no matter where he goes, no matter what he does.
Well, just out of curiosity, in pro wrestling, everything's settled in the ring. And I mean, the man did put you through a door. So I am curious, was it ever an idea or a thought that you would actually get in the ring properly to have a match?
I'm not an athlete. I'm not a wrestler. I'm not a performer in that sense. I'm just there to make sure that Norfolk County is provided with the best pro wrestling that, an event that I can help put together, make it run, make it happen, most entertaining as possible with the best talent available. And that's why I handpicked somebody that I thought could beat Wade, not only once, but two occasions, actually. The August event, Barn Burner in 2024, I had PD Skills go up against Wade Allen in a hardcore match. And then, the Stomping Grounds 2 in 2025, I had Isaiah Prince in that bull rope match go against Wade Allen. And both times, the guys that I chose came up short. And, I took my 10 lashings, and that was enough for me. I went through that door. I sustained a concussion. My wife was not happy about the situation. So I told her outside of the ring, I'll never put myself in that position again. And again, I have no reason being in the ring for contact, for, being in a match. I have no reason to fight somebody like Wade Allen because there's a lot of mutual respect there in what he does. And I don't want to take any away from that or a spot away from anybody that well deserves it. I am fine outside of the ring and behind the scenes.
So, so we will never be seeing the man with four first names enter a wrestling ring properly.
It's not in my plans. It's not in my plans, James. But one thing you always do say in professional wrestling is never say never, because you never know. But at this point in time, there's no intention. It's never crossed my mind. And I think I don't have the skill set to compete with these amazing athletes of today, even from the past or the future, So there's being at 41 years old, I'm comfortable wearing the suit and the nice dress shoes and making sure the events run smooth.
Right. Collect the money at the door. um, we've been talking about the promotion. There was one thing I wanted to bring up is that it is all family-friendly entertainment. These are, bring your kids type events. And I'm just curious because a lot of indie, promotions don't necessarily lean that way. So what was the idea when it came to, making it, a friendly product?
Oh, simple. We want anybody and everybody to be able to come. We don't want to exclude anybody. We want to. The main goal with NCCW is to have good in-ring action, technical skill sets mixed in with a modern day twist that still allows people to bring their children and not exclude their children from coming to watch something that they might enjoy or might want to enjoy, and be together as a family. We didn't want to exclude kids and having parents. We talk about economical costs and economical events. If you have to leave the kids at home, more often than not, you're paying for a babysitter to keep them at home, and you don't get to spend the Sunday afternoon with them at the event. You're not really making it family friendly, and B, you're not really making it as economical as you possibly could. So with those two factors in as well, we want to see the best in ring talent to put on the best performance in terms of the live action in the ring. We don't want to exclude the children and having to be babysat for an extra charge for the parents. And we want the families to be able to spend those 2.5 hours together and enjoy the show as they would going to a movie theater. But this is live, in your face, interaction, and something they don't get to normally see or do on a regular basis right here in their backyard.
What is something that you know now about promoting that you wish you knew when you first started?
That is an excellent question, James. There's a lot of things that you learn on a day-to-day basis. When it comes to marketing events, when it comes to ticketing for events, when it comes to promotional tickets, that sort of thing. When it comes to adding value or creating an experience live at your event to get somebody to actually get out of their house, the comfortable situation of them being on their house or their couch and wanting to pay with their hard-earned money to come to your event. It's the experience. It's not just about getting a group of talent together and putting on matches or having them compete at a high level in front of them inside of a ring. It's above and beyond that. So it took a show or two to really create and dive into that experience on what this particular market would like while they're at a live event, having the interactions, having the merchandise, having the food available, having, specific details and fine tune and tweak each and every event. I wish I just knew all those little details right off the bat, but they come as you go along and you have more experience. And of course, I have a student mentality in this business. So I love listening to people that are close to me, people with experience. Hey, what would you think about this? Hey, what would you think about this? Hey, what you would think about this? Well, two out of the three are not a go based off of their experiences, but one out of three might make a big difference for someone returning or not returning to your event and wanting to pay that ticket money to get out of the comfort of their own home. So just little fine details and reading into your audience and your market and the territory that you work in, and enhancing that experience rather than just putting on a wrestling show. That's something I would love to have learned. And you didn't really have to focus on that when you're performing or putting together a concert. Um, I find it a lot different than running any other type of event as well because there's so many variables that you have to take into consideration. But that detail in terms of not just putting on a wrestling show or an event, but creating an experience that people always want to come back to or can think positively about when they leave that venue or that event specifically to tell other people. And next thing you know, you have a larger crowd each and every time that you're hosting because they have an expectation, because you set the bar and you're catering to what they want to be involved in a sense. Not only just with the in-ring action, as I said, but the whole atmosphere of being together as a community and with their family.
And one fantastic honor that NCCW has had is that you've actually got to contest a TNA national international championship match twice. Uh, can you tell us about what that kind of means to you and the relationship with TNA, if any?
So first off, no relationship with TNA whatsoever. We just jumped on an opportunity, or I personally reached out to the at that time reigning champion Steve Macklin. Big fan of his personally as well. Great talent, very professional, amazing worker in ring. And it kind of fell into our lap where we had a little bit of extra money through a county grant that allowed us to spend a little bit out of our budget and enhance that budget to potentially put on a bigger named event than we normally would have. And I think having Steve Macklin come in and squaring off and defending the TNA International Championship against a guy like Shane Saber in the first event we held that day was huge. I think it did wonders, and it meant something a little bit more special. And then one of our regular events prior to do that, not to take away anything that we've done in the past, but it's just a growth period that you don't want to take advantage of or disregard, because having that championship defended on our card, and seeing those TNA letters and having Macklin come in and shake our hand and say, it was a great experience for him, and pass that information on to other talent that he now works with on a regular basis, and getting that feedback is a major positive for NCCW. And of course, on the second event, we had Macklin and Dijak go at it. So that was kind of cool too. You had an MLW star and a TNA star, two guys that potentially worked together in NXT but never crossed paths in a ring on that platform, come together under our banner and put on one hell of a match. That was really intense, and the championship being on the line again, as we know, Macklin defended against Shane Saber, went on to face Dijak, and that was just a hell of a match, like I said. And to see those two professionals perform in our community, at our venue, at our event, specifically in front of our audience, I think meant a lot to everybody involved. Of course, now we have, because of Dijak's experience here, we have now Anthony Green coming in for May 23rd, who's a close friend of his out of the Boston area, and an amazing veteran as well, who's performed for Noah. He was in WWE as well. It just snowballed, and having a name like Anthony Green now come in to not only perform and wrestle, but also host basically a training seminar and a scouting combine for NCCW is going to be amazing. So just an amazing overall. Going back to your original question, James, having the TNA Championship, International Championship defended on our event twice in the same night created a little bit of a ripple effect and a lot of positive feedback.
And it is quite amazing, I would say, like we started from the beginning, starting at negative numbers to actually get the company off the ground to in a week or two to being in your your biggest show yet. What does that kind of mean to you to have all that hard work paid off, and 2 years later in in really good shape?
Yeah, this is us heading into our third year, and it means a lot, because it's not just one person. It's not just the team behind the scenes. It's the community that comes together. It's the talent that comes to perform. It's the people booking the talent and the matches specifically. It's the camera crew. It's the sound guys. It's the refs. It's everyone involved. The ring crew. The venues, the county itself. It just everything coming together and watching that from the scratch from the very beginning and to where it is now. It means so much to see where something that you thought of doing turn into reality, and to see where it is now. Sure, we're not in stadiums or anything like that. And of course, like I said, it's very special to keep this for Norfolk by Norfolk. And that's always the way it's been. It's this thing of ours here in this amazing community, and just to see it come to fruition, and everyone along the way that's helped made this happen deserves a round of applause. And again, I mentioned the different categories and different types of people that might be involved in terms of the crew behind the team itself, the refs, the talent, the venues, everybody involved. To put this all together and get us where we're at. It's amazing to see. It's amazing to be a part of. The journey is unreal, and we're looking forward to always improve each and every event, and we're looking to make this as big as possible, specifically for Norfolk County. Something very special. I find that a lot of people, sure, there's a lot of promotions out there and a lot of promoters and stuff like that, but when you think in terms of per capita, in all of Canada or North America, or if you're looking at the greatest scale worldwide, not a lot of people get to say they're part of that group of people that were able to do something like that.
Now I think it's time for Adam's Bizarre Adventure. In the pro wrestling world, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a story that fits that description?
Actually, to be honest, everything's been pretty on the norm. I hate to disappoint. It might sound cliche, or it might sound like I'm politically speaking here, but I can't think of anything offhand um, that might fall into the bizarre category that might have happened. I know for some instances, some fans might have tried to get in the ring, or they've taken something personally. Which again, that's what wrestling is about, is the raw emotion that you feel, what you're watching in the ring. And, it's great to see the people of the community stick up for our county and our town when someone's running it down or trying to belittle this place of ours. And, but anything specifically bizarre, um, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I've encountered or witnessed or seen at any of our events or leading up to the events or anything like that. Unfortunately, someone else asked me this question too, and I gave them the same answer that we said we'd come back to it, but honestly, I can't think of anything that has really stood out to fit into that specific category. Other than me being a smartass to Wade Allen and him putting me through the door, I'll learn my lesson. But other than that, I can't think of anything, James. And again, I do apologize. Sorry to disappoint on the topic.
No worries, but I do find it weird that there hasn't been anything weird happen. Literally the best weird bizarre adventures come from Canada.
Right. I'm sure there's been a lot. I'm sure, there's a lot of things that have happened that people have said that have happened to them. But fortunately, I have a really good audience. I have a really good crew. I have really great talent. And they're all professional in their own regard. And, nothing bizarre or, nothing crazy has happened, knock on wood. And yeah, I can say that honestly. I don't think I've ever experienced it. I would have to double check with some of the other staff or the crew guys or talent that maybe have encountered something like that specifically, but nothing personally on my end, James.
Gotcha. Alright. Now, other than, pro wrestling, you do, promote, cage fighting as well. You're the co-owner of Norfolk Fighting, MMA, no?
So we've did a couple events here in Norfolk County in the past. Unfortunately, just with my wrestling schedule and stuff like that, for me to continue on, I had to choose essentially one or the other. And of course, when you work with somebody else in a different type of business that you don't really know personally, sometimes things can fall apart, even though it might be a great big picture. The differences don't get settled, and you decide to go your own ways. So at this current time, I'm specifically just running wrestling, even though I've had the privilege and honor of running Norfolk Fighting Championship as well, or being one of the co-runners and owners of that company and promotion of amateur mixed martial arts. It was a great adventure, and it was great for the community as well. But again, when you have differences with somebody that you barely know, and even though you might have a concrete business plan, and something's changed, in your mindset and your directions, and you end up going opposite ways, or there's outside influences to decision making, it makes it complicated to really continue on and have a true heart at what's best for the promotion and the events themselves. So with that, we both decided to go our own way, and of course, my heart still stayed with wrestling. So I'm still running events for NCCW under that banner.
I gotcha. did that come before pro wrestling, or did it happen while you were in the middle of making NCCW?
That was while I was currently running NCCW.
Okay, I gotcha.
So it was like an additional thing on my plate that we did twice. Both successful, both great. But again, it just got to a point where we had to go in our own different ways and separate from that business adventure, unfortunately. But that's the way sometimes the cookie crumbles, as we say. And you do what's right for the company name and the business, and you keep things professional and you go your own way. And here I am, like I said, James, continuing on with wrestling, a true passion of mine. So that's the key thing for me. One thing I was not willing to give up or change, and here we are heading into our starting year 3 already. So here we are.
Right. Alright, I think it's time for the colossal question. Let's say they're making a movie about you. Every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first 3 songs on your movie soundtrack?
Oh, that's a great question. Let's see. Um, let's see here. Here, I'm gonna have to. You can still hear me, correct?
Yes.
I'm just perfect.
Pulling
All
up that good
right.
Spotify.
Yes, you know it. There we go. Let's see. Johnny Cash. God's gonna cut you down,
Okay.
and then Love Will Tear Us Apart. Joy Division.
Okay. And one more?
And we'll go with my theme. We'll go with Run Through the Jungle by CCR.
Okay. Well, definitely a solid 3 picks. Now that we have the soundtrack down, everybody knows you get the soundtrack first, then you write the script, and then you go the casting. Who plays you, and you can't say yourself because you are obligated to make a Stan Lee-esque cameo.
All right. If I'm the one making the cameo, who does that? Who does that in a lot of their films? Is that Quentin Tarantino that does the cameo?
Yeah,
I think in
Quentin's
each
done
and
that a
every
few
one of
times.
his videos, if I'm doing that role, and somebody else is playing me, you know what? I go with Tom Cruise.
Okay. Now that we have you casted, every movie has a supporting cast. Who would be 3 people significant to you in your story that would be in your movie, and who would play them?
All right, that's a great question. Um, well, I think my wife has to be in there. I think
Okay.
she's a key supporter behind the scenes and actually does a lot for me in regards to the wrestling aspect of my life as well. Not only emotional support, mental support, but she puts up with all the chaos and
Right.
utilizes her skill set as being a professional animator to draw up graphics and put a lot of time and effort into making sure that they look amazing and fantastic for promotional and marketing. In terms of a character or an actress that would play her. I don't know offhand. I can't say anyone specifically. I don't know, James. I do apologize, but I'd probably just have her play her
That's fine.
because she's one of a kind, and if I must say so, oh so fine. So she's an amazing woman that I'm lucky to have in my life and a lucky supporter in each and everything that I do. We make a great tag team, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Right. We don't want you getting in trouble with your wife picking somebody that she wouldn't necessarily like.
That's exactly true. You're a wise man. I don't know if you're married, but that's exactly what I was thinking off the top of my head. But I had to put it out there in a political way that covered my butt,
Right.
as we say.
We got two more.
All right. Trying to think of actors. All right. So let's see. One of my best friends out there, Sean Smith. He's been a big helping hand, and one of the guys that actually, him and I are actually the ones that ran that event in Hamilton before I started NCCW together. And of course, he's been a big help and hand behind the scenes, a huge contribution to NCCW as well in the past. And someone that I lean on. We always usually relatively relate to each other as me being the Ric Flair and him being the Arn Anderson. But I would say that I would have him in the film as well. And you know what? With Jonah Hill.
Okay.
And last but not least, let's see. I don't want to leave anybody out. You're putting me on the spot, James. But I would go with and again, surprisingly, no one really necessarily in the wrestling business, or an athlete or anything like that. But I would say that essentially he's like my younger brother. His name's Fred, and I would have what's his name? He's in the show, The Studio. Let's see,
Seth
not
Green?
Seth. It would be
Not Seth Green. Seth Rogen.
no, Dave Franco.
Oh, okay.
I'd have Dave Franco play him.
Alright. Well, this is definitely sounding like a great movie.
I'm ready to watch. Buckle me up for the premiere.
Definitely a blockbuster to say the least. And you can pre-order the tickets now.
Right?
Now on to a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
Nope. No, thank you. That's a hard no. No, there's no obligation. My wife loves the pineapple on the pizza, and I say, you know what? You're gonna order yours. I'm gonna order mine because I don't even want to do half and half. I will double the cost of dinner that day if she wants pineapple on her pizza. Now normally she's pretty compromisable, and she picks the pepper, the mushroom, the onion, but she still gets her own, and I get my meat lovers. No pineapple on pizza whatsoever. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You could put a knife to my head out or whatever it might be. You might cause some trouble to me. You can give me shock therapy all you want. I'm not putting pineapple on pizza.
Okay, so very anti-pineapple on pizza. What's your spirit Pokemon?
I never watched or enjoyed Pokemon. So I don't even know anybody other than one, probably.
And that one being?
That would have to be the main one. Pikachu, I believe, is the only one that I know. And that's just because it's the most popular one, I think. Now, again, polar opposites here. If I go ask my wife which one she would say, she would be probably able to list all of them. Just the other day, she was playing Pokemon Snap, and she was telling me all the names for all these characters, and I modify them and make up my own names just so I can remember them. But she does the same thing for wrestlers too. Like it depends on, like for example, if I'm looking at Pokemon and I see somebody, she'll give me a name and I completely change the name. If she's watching wrestling, it's like the opposite for her. She'll be like, "Oh, who's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Pretty Ricky Wilde." And she'll look at what he's wearing, and that's what he is known by. Red pants or red tights or red undies, as she says, whatever it might be, right? So that she doesn't know the names. She knows them now because she's been doing it for quite some time, and like you said, she does all the contribution for the flyers and stuff like that. But at first, when she first started, she just described them as what they were wearing. I'm the same way with Pokemon. I'm just like, looks like this or looks like that, depending on what she's showing me. So the only one I actually know, like I said, would probably be Pikachu.
Okay.
I know there's a turtle-looking one, but that's all I know.
Sounds like we need to ask her this question.
Right? She give you answers.
Now, since you are a Canadian from Canada, I do have two Canadian exclusive questions for you.
All right.
The first one being poutine. Where is the best place to get it?
Montreal, Quebec, Canada. You have to get it there. It's the best place to get it. We have some decent places here in Ontario that I've experienced, but my favorite experience or best experience has always been in Montreal. And I'm just trying to think of the place. It's actually in Gatineau, Quebec, to be honest, and it's called Le Barbecue Shop. It's just over the bridge when you're in Ottawa. You can go over to Le Barbecue Shop. You can get like a jalapeno bacon pulled pork poutine, and it's absolutely phenomenal.
Okay. And the second question is Canada's greatest national treasure Ryan Reynolds?
Huh. That's a good question. You know what? To be honest, James, I always forget that he's Canadian. I would have to say our greatest national treasure would be the 1967 Stanley Cup that the Toronto Maple Leafs won. Because it might be the last they ever win. So I will treasure that cup until the day I die or until they win another one, which may be past the point of me living. But till then, that's what I will cherish. Or the 1992 and 93, was it 92, 93? I should know this. I'm terrible. Let's see. Yeah, 92, 93 World Series championship that the Blue Jays won. Those three things I think are Canada's national treasure. And of course, if in terms of in-ring talent, we have so much in-ring talent here from Canada. It's unbelievable. In my favorite opinion, my favorite wrestler, Bret Hart, would be considered a national treasure to the world of professional wrestling, being from Canada. He paved the way for so many in the way that he works, the way that he represented himself, the way that he portrayed himself. And some would say that the egotistical mindset or the narcissistical attitude or mindset, I think, is forgotten, and I think it's required to be in professional wrestling, to hold or have people hold you to a certain standard that he wanted to be held at. And Bret Hart is definitely a national treasure when it comes to pro wrestling, being from Canada.
Oh, for sure. Now, we love the late great Tracy Smothers. Do you know the acronym for Doug? THUG.
The acronym for thug. Don't think I do.
Well, I could spell it out for you.
I'm anxious to hear.
T.
Should I know this?
Well, we would hope that. We hope so. T is for terrible, H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for jail, 'cause a dog can't spell.
There we go.
Yes, we love the late
Yes.
great Tracy Smothers, trying to keep the memory alive on the show.
FBI. I think that's what he was most known for. But
Yes.
back in the day as well, he did some stuff with Smoky Mountain. He was all over the place in terms of territory. Great tag team wrestler as well. True athlete in the ring, and I think again someone that was underappreciated in his later days versus what he did throughout his career. Absolutely correct. Again, a talent with a great mindset. And again, some of my favorite stuff that he ever did, again, was with Jim Cornette's Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Oh, yeah. I kind of personally prefer the FBI stuff just because it's the full-blooded Italians and the guy was Irish. So
Right.
it literally makes no sense. But
He did pull it off, though. He did pull it off.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, any talent that's trained by someone like Stan Lane or Steve Kern, two amazing athletes in their own right. Of course, Stan Lane being one member of my favorite tag team of all time, the Midnight Express. You can't go wrong with a talent like Tracy Smothers.
Oh, yeah. Where is question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview, hopefully. Would you ever consider booking a Rock to wrestle? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the Country, an actual physical Rock.
I will give you first prize for that being probably the weirdest question I've ever been asked on a wrestling podcast or any general question I've ever been asked in my entire life, James.
Yay.
You win. I think that's what you're going for with this one, and you definitely hit the nail on the head. I would say no Rock. I just don't see the potential in that what that Rock could do for the performance. Now, for me again, as NCCW specifically, we like to see the technical skill side of things in the ring. We like to see two competitors mix it up. It's not so much a comedy act or that type of style of wrestling where it would be very obvious or blatant that one competitor in the ring that was actually physically able to move would have to control the Rock and do moves to him and stuff like that. So on that aspect, I would say no. If I was running a comedy type of style of professional wrestling, which is out there, they do great. You look at Mystery Wrestling, I'm sure they could do something with that. They could paint a little face on the Rock or a garden gnome or something of the sort. And you know what? That garden gnome might be victorious. You never know with Mystery Wrestling. That's always the good part about comedy wrestling, right? But within NCCW, with me personally, never.
Well, just for context, there is a wrestler named Psycho Mike that indeed wrestled a Rock for over 15 minutes in a Tungsten Man match. That's an Iron Man match that lasts for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Was it just like a mean stare down, or?
No, they actually wrestled for like over 2 weeks. I think Mike tore both his LCLs in that match as well.
Oh my goodness. Was this also for Mystery Wrestling?
No.
Oh.
Backyard Pro.
Okay.
Do you you've had Von Vertigo on your show, right?
Yes, the big guy. Yes, indeed.
Ask Vaughn about The Rock.
I will ask him next time I see him for sure. And I'm very familiar with Psycho Mike. I know what he's done. I know he's done for Smash and other promotions throughout the province and the country. And of course, he works primarily now, I think, with Mystery Wrestling. So that's why I was wondering if it was with them. No, for sure. I'll definitely ask the big guy about the Rock and Psycho Mike. I can only imagine.
Yep. Von Vertigo, Gabriel Ferza, Saint Shaper, all was a part of Backyard Pro.
I know those guys very well.
Oh, and Alexia. Alexia Nicole as well.
Yep, I know her. Yep, very much. They've all been on NCCW events. All amazing talent for sure. So I'll definitely have to pick their brain on that.
Next time you try and book Vaughn, ask him to become GF Hardy. He will hate that.
Maybe I shouldn't. Like I said, I'm not looking to get in the ring with anyone.
I think he'll appreciate the call back, but the answer will definitely be no. But on a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Hopefully, doing what I'm doing. Obviously, in terms of a personal situation, I like to see potentially my family grow, living comfortably. I'm not one to sit around, so I love to work hard. I love to push my limits and to continuously grow, learn, network, meet as many people as I positively can in this amazing world of ours. Sometimes crazy, but amazing world still. Nothing surprises me. Sorry, each and every day, I should say, is a surprise, which is great. So I'm never bored. In terms of the wrestling business, is just continue doing what I'm doing, one step at a time. Don't rush anything. Keep things smart. Keep things simplified, and I think success comes from those steps. Once you try to overcomplicate or get ahead of yourself or put yourself in a situation where you can't back it up on an expectation and you can't deliver what you set out your mission to be, I think you fall out of love with what you're doing, and I think the audience can tell that. And once the promoter's not in love with what they're doing, why should the audience give any care and waste their money in that sense or spend their money in that sense to something that even the guy running it doesn't care about. So I think it's just keeping a solid head on the shoulders, And again, just keep on doing what I'm doing, James. If not, again, you run off the tracks, or you go off the rails, and next thing you know, you're not doing what you originally loved, or you're not doing for the reasons why you love it. And I think that's where a lot of people fall into after a specific period of time. They might get bored. They might run out of ideas. They're unwilling to learn, grow, that sort of thing, and they get complacent or comfortable. I'm definitely not one of those types of people. And like I said, 4 or 5 years, I'd like to see NCCW one of the biggest attractions for Norfolk County specifically. Not necessarily the biggest promotion, not necessarily the biggest wrestling show in Ontario or anything like that, but just something still special that people want to flock to here in Norfolk County and watch NCCW.
And what is a match that people should go out of their way to see that best shows off NCCW as a promotion?
I think anything that we have up on YouTube. I think if you want to introduce yourself to NCCW, start with the Stomping Grounds, properly named, because this is where we are from. This is what we wanted to build. This is our home. You start with April 28th, 2024, Stomping Grounds on YouTube, which you can find all our footage, all of our events, all our matches, and you can start to learn what we're all about. You get to see what we're all about, our expectations, what the talent delivered to our audience. You get to follow along from day one all the way to modern day, and leading up to May 23rd, All or Nothing in Delhi, Ontario, Capital 33. I can't say one specific match per se, but if you want a real true definition of NCCW, what our mission is and what we're doing and what we're going to continue to do, is check us out on YouTube, watch any match that you choose, and you'll learn real quick.
And the link to their YouTube page will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox. So you can binge all things NCCW after this interview. For anybody that hasn't seen it, wants to see it, wants to re-see it after this interview.
Amazing. No, that's great, James. Thank you very much again. You won't be disappointed. A lot of great and amazing talent on each and every event, involved in each and every match. There's a story to be told. It's not just high impact action that's included, but there's a reason behind it. Each and every match, and I think that's always been an important part of wrestling to invest in and emotionally get involved with. So I hope you go check it out, enjoy it. I go back to it all the time. I watch it. And I think it's one of my favorite things to do on my spare time.
Absolutely. And since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
Uh-oh. I didn't study for this test. I didn't prepare for a pop quiz.
This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
I think I'm ready here. I'm just going to have a quick sip of water. Bear with me.
Mm-hmm.
I've just been getting over a flu, unfortunately, so my throat's a little raspy, but I think I've hung in there pretty good with you.
Definitely.
And I think I'm ready now.
Okay. Greatest wrestler of all time.
Bret the Hitman Hart.
Worst wrestler.
Oh, geez, you said speed round. Giant Gonzalez.
You're booking the main event for WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who are the 2 combatants?
Could it be past, present, future?
Yes.
Bret Hart versus Bobby Eaton.
If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Chris Benoit.
Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
Still alive.
We would have also accepted taste great on toast. Squash. Vegetable or fruit?
Oh, it's delicious with brown sugar. I know that much, and a lot of butter. I'm going to say vegetable.
It is indeed a fruit.
Oh, there you go. See, I don't eat much. I'm a meat eater, carnivore.
Yes, it has seeds. Tomato logic.
Ah, there we go.
New Japan wrestler Taichi, his ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
Uh, I'm not. Anything professional. Anything that children can watch and not be offended.
Okay, so business casual.
Yeah, we'll go business. Yeah, we'll say business professional.
And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
Never.
And that's the correct answer.
I was going to say, I don't think anybody in our area really knows who Darby Allin is, to be honest. Unfortunately, sorry, Darby, but you're not on that level.
Right. And that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
James, I have a quick question for you, actually.
Mhm.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Out of any match that you've watched in NCCW history, which match is your favorite, and which match would you let your listeners know to go watch first?
Ooh. That is putting me on the spot.
I want to know if you know your stuff.
Well, I would say maybe the match Kingsley won the championship in, your last event. I thought that was a really good show, and obviously she knows what she's doing when it comes to the tomfoolery of things. And obviously Alexia Nicole, friend of the show, was in that match as well, so I can't necessarily go wrong with that.
Right.
The bull rope match, with Wade Allen and Isaiah Prince, fantastic. Um, and the tag team match, the Generation Now versus the Broforce. But just
That was
the
really good too.
afterwards, the match, with, you know, KPK. Just that whole, like, what the F moment.
Right. No, for sure.
I like
And
the
if
unexpected moments. Because you don't
you don't,
necessarily get
oh,
those
sorry, go
kind of
ahead.
moments in independent wrestling. You know what I mean?
No, for sure, definitely. We try to do that once in a while. We don't like things predictable as possibly, but you never know what's going to happen in an NCCW event. And if you don't mind me saying, I think the match that everybody should watch if they want to introduce themselves to NCCW is happening on May 23rd, All or Nothing, 7 p.m., Capital 33, Delhi, Ontario. It's championship versus streak. Pretty Ricky Wilde, the defending reigning champion, versus the undefeated Wavemaker Kyle Boone. You do not want to miss it. Also, on top of that, James, we have Anthony Green, WWE vet, Noah vet, Exodus Pro vet, trying and challenging current Destiny World Heavyweight Champion Tarek, which is going to blow the roof off of this place. NCCW audience does not get to see either of these two athletes, and they're amazing, phenomenal, anywhere and everywhere they go. And of course, we have tag team action. We have the women's championship, the final chapter. We think it should be the final chapter. We're going to see what's happening. But Kingsley versus Wanda for the women's championship, with the return of Hayden Backlund. Matthew Grant is coming back since 2024. We don't know why. We don't know what the reason is. We just know that he wants to compete into a certain regard, but we don't know who his opponent's going to be, so we're going to find out about that, plus so much, much more. May 23rd, All or Nothing. I'm excited. You should be excited. Everyone listening should be excited. Get your tickets while you can. Ticketscene.ca. type in All or Nothing.
And where can we find you on social media as well?
So again, just to make sure that everyone's clear, on Instagram, IG, it is at Norfolk Wrestling. Easy, simple. Find us, follow us. We'll return the favor. Comment, watch, keep up to date. All announcements, all the news, all the events, everything going on right then and there. And of course, Facebook at Norfolk County Championship Wrestling. Just find us. That's where our event pages are as well. And stay up to date with everything going on there as well if you're not a fan of IG. So simple, easy, effective.
And YouTube as well.
And YouTube, of course, you don't want to miss out on all the action or catch yourself up if you have not had the opportunity or the chance or graced your presence in front of an NCCW ring. That's where you would go to watch all the matches that have happened from April 28th, 2024, when we first kicked off our first event, Stomping Grounds, all the way up to date this past February. No Man's Land is the latest event. And again, May 23rd, All or Nothing coming up real soon.
And you don't have to type it into your Google machine. All of the links to all their social media and Adam's social media as well will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox, simply click the link. A new tab will appear on whatever device you are on. You have no excuse. Give them a damn follow. And if you're in the Norfolk area, buy a damn ticket.
It's greatly appreciated if you can come out and make it and support local wrestling. We still think that local wrestling is the breeding ground for upcoming and new future talent. And of course, a place for the veterans that like to make a difference in these towns that don't normally get to see the bigger names as well. It all starts from the ground up. And, it's just great to be a part of something very special right here in Norfolk County, my hometown, my home area. And of course, having everybody commemorate and come together to enjoy these events means a lot to me. Everyone involved at NCCW, and of course, the talent that are performing for you inside the ring want to see you there as well. So we're looking forward to it, May 23rd, Saturday nights. We don't do too many Saturday shows, but this is a special event. As I said, the debut at Capital 33 in Delhi, Ontario, the legendary Capital 33, I should say, in Delhi, Ontario. So we'll see you there.
Of course.
And just a reminder for any adult that grabs a general admission ticket, if you have a child 12 years and older, we have a special link just for you. Because if you grab your one ticket for the general admission as an adult, you can also grab the combination with general adult with youth 12 years and older for only $20. You can't beat it. Bring your kid out. Enjoy the show. Have a great time. It is family friendly, as I said.
Of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and Castbox. This was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us next Tuesday and Wednesday for new incredible interviews, and follow the show at Wrestling with E, both on X, Thread, and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Alright, when I say wrestling what, you say entertainment, okay?
Perfect.
For our special guests, Adam, Anthony, James, Martin, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.